Okay. Good night to you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you decide to tune in. Hope everything's going well for you. And if it's not, don't feel afraid to reach out to someone. Sorry about the delay. I got this message saying that this wouldn't record, and because we had like too much storage space on our side of whatever like website that we use. I didn't know how to confront it, so we're just gonna have to wing it for now. I don't know what this might do, but hopefully this stays up on here. Because my goodness, that was confusing. And it, of course, it happens like right as I'm trying to go live, and then I get this whole problem. I first of all I can't even understand, and then second of all I just gotta deal with it on my own because no one else is gonna be available to quickly reach out. So, but we're running okay. Things should be going smoothly. I will admit, man, a lot of you guys are spoiled because of how many how many people have been making some stuff this night. And I would be selfish and say like, "Hey, man, this is my night, all right? Like this is the night where I get to do stuff." Everyone else is chiming in, man. He had so many different streams and like in like a 2 or 3 hour window. It was crazy trying to keep up with everyone. But whew, someone's got to close up the show, right? So let's do it together. Speaking of who's together with me, I got Brandon Kahuna. How's it going? CK22, what up yourself? Got Todd. And we got Asia. We got a few more people here. They haven't commented. That's okay. Oh, we got someone from Twitch saying the Beast Among Us 13. Would you be really surprised if we actually beat the Patriots? We're inconsistent, but the Pats are actually on fire. Okay, so. I'm gonna get to the point, right? So I've thought about it, right? What the heck happened last Thursday? Anybody can anybody tell me on that one? Who can answer that question? What the heck happened last week on last Thursday's night game? If I remember correctly, wasn't it the Dolphins stomping on the Ravens? And you think of, wait, whoa, what universe does that exist in? Just last week, right? I think that we're at the point in the NFL season where the reality just favors the stupid. I was watching it, or I didn't watch it, but I saw a video that was made that saying like, "Hey, is there even a good NFL team anymore?" Because every single good team this season has an embarrassing loss to their resume. Some even have more than one. So, what the heck do I gotta do in order to sound smart in this season? Because I can make all these different types of weird assumptions and then watch it come true. And then meanwhile, on the other weeks where I meticulously plan, I do the game films, I do the reviews, I do the recaps, and I write it all down and I make my article, and I'm trying to like do a recap of how we can be better, how we can improve ourselves on a week-to-week basis. I'm listening to the coaches' interviews, I'm listening to the players' interviews, I'm listening to all these different types of stuff. I'm listening to coaches talk on different sorts of podcasts and all this kind of stuff. I'm listening and we're learning from you guys, and then we reciprocate the knowledge. And yet those are the weeks that we lose. So it makes no sense. Like it makes absolutely no sense. This is the season where it's like, and I said this before, you can't think too highly of anyone at the top. You can't think too lowly of anyone at the bottom. And we're right in the middle. So we're right in the position where we can upset someone. And we're also right in the middle where we could just be blown out because that's the kind of season that the NFL's produced for us so far. All right. And it's not like every single person has been enjoying the NFL. Goodness gracious, dude. There's been so many problems. It's unbelievable. So at this point, I wouldn't. I wouldn't be surprised. As a matter of fact, score prediction 31-10 Falcons. Because why the heck not? Right? Because Dolphins had no business beating the Ravens. It's not like the Ravens had anyone that was hurt. As a matter of fact, it was the opposite that happened. The Dolphins, they were the more hurt team, apparently, in more crucial positions, mind you. So I look at tomorrow night. I'm like, whatever happens, happens. All right. Is it going to define us as a team? Probably not. You know, but it's more about what we do. It's more about what we learn from each other as a fan base, what we learn from each other as a team, and as a coaching staff. It's all about making sure that we take all of these moments in our lives and all of these moments in the NFL as a teachable moment. And right now, I ain't got no teachable moment anymore because it's insane. You know, like Asia Green saying we have mixed emotions. I don't blame you because at the same time, I want to be stupidly optimistic like the next person that's randomly right. But it's so hard because the when you're trying to improve yourself, it's all about your confidence level. It's all about how much you know and how much you need to know in order to improve. So one of the reasons as to why I kept hearing from everyone that, oh well, this team plays more physical than the other one, or this team plays faster than the other one. I believe the reason as to why that's the case is because they're simply more confident in what they know. They have more of a recollection of the playbook and that they're able to adjust on the fly if need be. I don't completely see that in our team as a full group, but I certainly think that there's spurts of that. So anyway, how's it going, Trey Hill? CK22. It's tough, man. I guess it goes to show that the chip is up in the air this year. Well, when it comes to these types of seasons, you just got to think like I want to be able to say that it literally could be anyone. But then knowing like the percentage wise, it's it's going to go to the one team that we don't want it to go to. And that's what's going to happen. At this point, and you said it yourself, everyone does look beatable. In fact, everyone has been beaten pretty embarrassingly in prime time, mind you. Like, look at the Rams. As much as I beat up on the 49ers, they showed up then. I don't know why they can't do that all the time. Go on, Tyrone. How's it going? I saw your podcast, man. Like I said, we got some competition going on today. So Todd's asking which Matt Ryan will show up. Well, I don't think it's him that I'm worried about. Like I posed a question earlier. It's like, when was the last time our offense has sputtered back-to-back weeks? I was really trying to remember. Like, yeah, we had some bad losses against some pretty good teams. For call it what it is, Dallas looked good against us. And that's not something that I was expecting right out the gate, and specifically only in the second quarter. How's it going, human Facebook user? Yes, I don't know. I don't know why your name hasn't shown up on this side, but I mean, all this up, man. You said them birds are gonna get that W, and like I said, man, reality favors the stupid. Andrew G, how's it going? So, I at this point, I don't want to be the super pessimistic and just be like, oh hey, we got punched in the mouth and we're just gonna like sit here and cry about it for the next couple of weeks and then be like all the other fair weather fans. I don't want to be like that. I want to be like, hey, if you punch me in the mouth, I'm gonna punch you back because that's the type of person that I am and that's the type of toughness that I want to show. I'm not going to be here, oh, I'm going to punch you in the head, and you're just going to be like, oh, no, I got punched in the mouth. I must be really bad at fighting, and I must suck and everything else. All those people, they're just so quick to give up. This season right now, we've almost won as many games as we lost, and all we hear about are the losses. And it's always coming from those people that are just so quick to give up. We could be 16-0 and it'll lose the 17th game because we rested our starters on a would be bye week, and then those same fans would be like, oh man, we were 16-1, we couldn't even do that, so now we must be the worst team. I don't understand, you know. If you're thinking JTM was our best pass rusher, whew, then he was sitting at the hill of mediocrity. That's all I can say. When other meme pages are trying to be like, oh man, this guy's got more sacks than the Falcons, and I'm like, well, good for him, but I know why you're making that post. You're making that post in order to crap on us. And obviously, like we can't fight it. We can't fight back because it's a stat. Like we see it. It's there. But as far as like being confident in your own team when you know that you don't have any control over it, despite all of the adversity that the team has faced, if you're the type of person that's willing and able to give this team a chance, I'm not the type of person to do this, and I don't want to steal from other people. But before we get to that, well, what's loyalty without support? We all know dang well if we win tomorrow, everyone will be right back hopping on the bandwagon, of course. And then we're gonna be like, well, but that's not the team that we are. We just play. It's like there's always going to be an excuse. There's always going to be something. And I mentioned before, it's like for those of you that weren't on Twisted Torture stream, those are I mentioned this before. Like the Patriots are really good when it comes to just on a points per drive basis, on a scoring percentage basis, where it was almost like 49% of the time that they had the ball, they were going to score with it. So if we can make that to our advantage by just simply limiting the amount of times that they touch the ball on offense, obviously that can do some good for us. But how good will it do if we can't manufacture a 13, 14 play drive? Yeah, Steve led this and he got upset and Falcons quit on Sunday. What did you ask him? Are you asking him what CK22 said? What's what two without support? Because I don't really have I don't think there's been a question asked on this thing so far. So you might have to continue on that. But if you're still willing to give this team a chance, put a 1 in the chat. I want to see how many hopefuls are there. Ain't a whole lot of people right now, but it's to be expected. What's everyone thinking? Because it's tough to see a loss like that, but it hurts a lot less when you know that you have more people that are able to support the team, that are willing to support the team. because I know now that the loss, sure, it affects you somewhat on a almost like a physical level, definitely on a mental state, that's for sure, and emotionally. But all of that, it hurts a lot less when you know you have other people, when you know that you have the backs of other people to fall back on, and that you can get encouragement from other places anyway. Because heck, I was not expecting this type of loss to happen this season, and let alone have it happen twice already. And then for someone like me to just volunteer for this opportunity, and then now I get to be the person that's like has to cheer up everyone, and it's really tough because, well, I'm still new to the streaming. Ah, okay. So you said I said that the Falcons quit. He said no, and you got mad. Well, that was pretty obvious. Like I was watching it from over here. Like you didn't have to be in Jerry World in order to see that the Falcons just straight up quit at some point. I know certain players didn't quit, like Richie Grant and all them, but let's be honest. Like when that happened, like when the freaking blocked punt happened, I was like, yep, might as well pile that on as well. Might as well, right? Because goodness knows nothing else is gonna go right. So apparently we only got one person that's hopeful. Don't worry, man. I'm with you on that. Uh, okay. Well, oh boy. Um, so yeah. As far as like the beginning of the stream, I don't know how long I can be on here because of like storage space and whatnot. It might be like one of my shortest streams I've ever done, and I can end it at like an hour and a half, and that'll still be the shortest stream I've ever done. So I'm normally on here for a pretty long time, but I don't know about right now. I was thinking about possibly setting up my schedule so that I can stream during the game. I don't know what that would be like though. It's gonna be a lot of setup in more ways than one. I just more fire. I take it you want more fire from Coach Smith. He showed it in camp, not now. That's a fair assessment. And you're saying I just know that if it does happen, we're the only ones who can take pride in it. Exactly. Because who wants to say that? Oh, hey, we're gonna suck every single week and want to be right about that? Dude, I know Lions fans that are more loyal, that are willing to go to Pittsburgh, mind you, in order to watch their team tie. Falcons could have 50 Super Bowl titles, and people will still have something to complain about. Also, the people who hope for LSO won't fit their narrative, and they continue to complain. Of course. So, you sometimes just can't win. Oh, but here's some way that you can. Pro Bowl voting. It's up. It started yesterday. So, hey, if you're bored, if you're ever bored, please go to NFL.com, look up for the Pro Bowl voting. If you have to set up your own account, do that. If not, if you already have it, then go ahead because it's not going to count if you don't have an account. Um, but yeah, certain players need to go to the Pro Bowl. It's a shrinking list, but there's still people that need to be recognized. So, Jason Hembry, how's it going? He's saying is Gallman the answer? Ooh, to what question? If the question is Can we get the can we get the run game to improve? I don't think it's necessarily just a change at a. I don't think it's necessarily just a change at a specific position, but much rather when we decide to run the ball. So if we can give ourselves some favorable looks, run out of pass looks, pass out of run looks. We've done that before plenty of times. Run the ball in more favorable situations. Maybe don't run the ball on first down every single time, guys, but instead, maybe run it on, I don't know, 2nd and 5, 2nd and 4. But how do we get those? How do we get those 6 yards? Obviously, you have to pass. But if teams know this, if teams know that we're trying to just get 6 yards in order to establish the run, which I know that the Patriots are actually going to be smart enough in order to do that, they're going to play up closer. They're going to play press coverage on the corners. The safeties are going to step up a little bit more. The linebacker is going to be closer into the box. You might get more pinched in defensive linemen. But guess what? That sets you up. That sets you up for more plays, actually. That way you can attempt a deep pass. Get those safeties back there. Keep them out of the box. And now you're, have more wide receivers on the field. I know they ain't worth I know they ain't worth a whole lot right now, but keep them on the field. Because right now what we're trying to do is change the look of the defense that we're up against and make it more favorable matchups for ourselves. And just like what Brandon Price is saying, we need to reclaim and make sure that it's our house. Because right now it's like a freaking Airbnb, like it's, and I'm not even from there, man. And I know that there are people that essentially pay for the stadium without realizing it. But yeah, I just suggest that when it comes to tomorrow, just stay off of social media as much as you can when it comes to anything football related, because goodness knows they're gonna bring up all the stuff that you're not gonna want to see. They're trying to show love to the Falcons this week on the on all the fan pages or on like the social media platforms. It's not supporting a single thing. All right, it's just a cesspool of hatred. But what I've come to find out over the years, as far as literally anything that gets shown off, you might be doing something good if you're just being mindlessly hated. That's all I'm saying. Mason Hembry, great analysis every Sunday. I look forward to hearing y'all's thoughts. Real Falcons fans are hard to come by. Exactly. So we got to stick together, man, and we got to make sure that we're encouraging each other so we don't lose the people that we already have, because we're such a small group as it is. And which is why I'm saying, hey, go to the Pro Bowl and spam AJ Terrell in, all right? And what you got to do is that you got to scroll, all right? Because they organize it by interceptions, which I get why, but because AJ Terrell doesn't have one, the NFL algorithm is going to make it seem like he's not good. But people that actually watch him on a week-by-week basis, they should know that that's not the case and that he's actually been one of the top guys in the NFL. So you got to make sure that he's actually being selected, because goodness knows all these – like I said, he don't have one right now, not this season. I know he had one at least last season against the Vikings, but that's not the only stat to reference a corner. I know it is a stat, but me and Dave on a couple weeks ago, we talked about the stats that get overblown because of inflation and how you acquire those. Like, would you rather go by that or by like yards allowed or catches allowed or touchdowns allowed, passer rating allowed? I'd say you'd rather go by that than just an interception. And it was a great comparison. I forgot who made it, but someone compared Trayvon Diggs, or I don't know if it was Diggs. I think it was Robert Alford to Marcus Peters, like a like a watered down version of Marcus Peters, because while he kept getting the interceptions, he also kept getting a bunch of the flags. He also looked like burnt toast every other week, but all you remember are the interceptions. So hey, he gets voted in the Pro Bowl, even though he's not really all that great of a corner. So there's that. Any updates on Ridley? Could he come back at any point in the season? He can come back. I want to say next week, technically, because he's on like the NFI, like the non-football injury IR, and that's at least 3 weeks because of how the IR system is. So he got, I think that got placed on him on before the Saints game. So we had the Saints game, we had the Cowboys game, and now we had the Patriots game. I think after this week against, I want to say Jacksonville, that's when he can probably come back. So, but yeah. Okay, let's see what's going on. Oh, hey. Got someone over here from Twitch. I'd love to be able to read it if I could, but the only things that I think you're saying salute from Mexico. I think that's what you're saying. Hey, friend, salute from Mexico. Go. Yeah, maybe never mind. There's a question. Do you think Fabian Moreau is the worst corner in the NFL? Worst corner in the NFL? No. As a matter of fact, it was weird because of how I don't completely trust the PFF grading system, except when they give our players some love. But they looked at the defensive snaps this last game, and they actually gave Fabian Moreau a higher PPF grade or PFF grade than AJ Terrell. He was actually one of the better defenders that game. And I was like, dude, just stop lying to us, okay? Like, no, he was not that good. I'm sorry, because we only had CeeDee Lamb to stop. No, obviously there was going to be more receivers because they had Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup. Michael Gallup didn't do a ton, but the things that he did, guess what? They were up against freaking Moreau. So, he's able to come back next week if he's ready. Yeah, I mean, that's the problem though, is that we still want him to have his time off in order so that he can be his best self, so that he can come back to the Falcons facility. So, hey, maybe we need to welcome back with a little bit more open arms than before. It's tough to think of these players as something other than just players. Not always realizing or not always remembering that they have lives outside of this. Now, obviously, this is their job, and they want to be able to do the best at their job, just like everyone else in society. And they're getting paid more to do this job as an entertainer for us, as a break from reality, if you will. But these people need help too. These people get problems. Mentally, physically, emotionally, familial. So when it comes to judging these players, it's really tough because you want to give them the benefit of the doubt, but you also understand that the NFL has such a small margin of error that if they just mess up a couple of other times, then their career is over. This is why the average lifespan of an NFL player is only about 3 to 4 years. They may get a ton of money in that time, but if they have a season or possibly career-ending injury happen to them and they're not able to pick up another job after they retire, what do you think happens to them? What do you think happens to these former Falcons players? They don't ever get mentioned in today's media. We've heard about the stories of how messed up some people's heads are because of CTE and because of other problems that arose from football afterwards. And yet no one gives them any attention because they're a former player and they may have sucked before and now no one wants to care. I don't want that to happen. At least not to us anymore. So I'd say just calm down, pump the brakes on how hard you judge these players. Because yeah, they can suck. Who the heck doesn't at some points? Mafi, how's it going? You guys stepping up on this game on the defensive side? Well, given that there's only like 4 or 5 players that I trust on that defense, and one of them might not even play because they're trustable. I'm referring to Jalen Hawkins. I'd say the rest of the other 7. And there's going to be even more than that because of the defensive rotations and sub packages. So, yeah, basically everyone, all right? No one really played a good game last week. So everyone's got to step up. But if I got to point at a particular person, I think it's someone that Dean Pease was mentioning, that when this person got hurt and went out of the game, it created a lot of problems for him on a personnel and scheme-wise because he couldn't do the same things that he could with this person in the game. And that's Jalen Hawkins would-be substitute Avery Williams because he's a slot corner. Dean Pease asked a lot of his slot corners to, well, obviously cover and obviously be able to tackle the running back if they break it out to the outside zone in situations where they have, 11 personnel, for example. I want the slot corner to actually hold on because nowadays that slot corner is becoming a more paramount position in the NFL, more so than previous years because of what they're asked to do. Do you throw a safety in there? Do you throw a corner in there? Do you have to separate them from either one and just call them a defensive back? Well, now you're putting a lot of pressure on that person because if they ever go down, well, guess what? Your whole team and your whole scheme possibly fails. I think that's what happened because we were trying to run zone and then we realized that because that person was hurt, we couldn't really run zone that we wanted to. Then we had to resort to man. And then when we run man, we just got outmatched. And on the offensive side, Cordell Patterson went down, didn't really get to see him for the rest of the game, and now guess what? Nobody can get open and nobody can catch. It creates a lot of problems that way. But I think because we had those problems and we had them all in one game, thankfully, it only counts as 1 loss instead of 5. It only counts as 1 loss instead of, you take back the other 4, and now guess what, Falcons, you're considered a 0-9 team. That's not how this works. So, yeah, anyone that doesn't go by the name of A.J. Terrell, Foyesade Oluokun, Deion Jones, and Grady Jarrett, everyone else, they need to step up. What will be the keys defensively against New England? Certainly we need to win the battles on the line of scrimmage. And one of the things that I was mentioning is because of how great New England is at taking their offensive drives to the end zone, We need to limit the amount of times that they see the ball. And our best defense right now is our offense. What I mean by that is making sure that our offense stays on the field as long as possible and just kill a lot of the time on the clock. Because I don't know if you know this, but historically, the 60 minutes for the Falcons, it's a lot of time. So could we potentially shorten this down to, I don't know, like a 40-minute game? Just waste that clock. We need safer plays to do that. But I also think that you need to intimidate your opponent enough so that they can't always play soft coverage or, play the flats and whatnot. Because you want safe completions. You want to be able to make your team efficient. And right now, efficient equals boring. But the Patriots have thrived off of boring offense. So I think you need to outbore the Patriots. It's going to suck. But if it produces a win, then I think that we did enough. Because having 7, 8, 9, 10-minute drives that can get you like 14, 15, 16 plays, if each play is worth about 40 seconds off the clock, that's how much time you just wasted. And then you just keep that going, right? We need to be able to at least get 10 yards. All right. What killed us was those 3 and outs in the second quarter. We couldn't get 10 yards. What's weird was when, minutes before, we were able to get a bunch of yards and we were able to go down the field and have certain positions where, like a 4th and 7, we couldn't complete it. And then that just killed our drive. It just killed our momentum. So we can't let that happen again. We can't be told that, oh, hey, you can't get 10 yards on us anymore. So I think another key for this game is, now we don't really have control over this, but if we get the ball first, if we receive the first half kickoff, and we have our answer right then and there, I think that changes our entire game plan, like how we face the Patriots. Because if we have to spend another 6 or 7 minutes in order to figure out if our offense is going to move the ball against them, now we just wasted enough time. Now they wasted our time trying to use our game plan against us. Now we've just had our taste of raw medicine, and we can't afford to have that happen to us. Be that as it may, this team, it isn't properly functional enough in order to play from behind. And that's not just a talent and that's not just a talent problem, and it's not just a scheme problem. But I think it's just much more of a momentum problem. Momentum's a strange thing in the NFL. But you can tell when a team has it, and you can tell when a team's lost it. Make that a riddle. Anyway, let's get to some of these comments. It's easy to look at the amount of money that they're getting paid and assume they have their lives completely figured out. If you have issues, money can just end up enhancing those issues. Yep. More money, more booze. Yeah. Have it handy at all times. Wallace, how's it going? He said a great NFL player really doesn't make their money until that second contract. Yeah. Remember a certain song. I don't want to sing, so I'll just remember the lyrics. It says, I don't know what they want from me, but the more money we come across, the more problems we see. If you can figure out who said, if you can figure out who sung that, shouts out to you. Falcons might need to consider letting Ridley walk and signing another receiver such as Allen Robinson or Golden Tate. Golden Tate? Really? I love Rid. This is not the best situation for him. Golden Tate? I guess he's tough up the middle. Okay, so you're saying, as far as your fantasy, Patterson or Davis in this game, neither. just neither. Uh, you're saying no offense to Avery Williams, but I want to see Darren Hall a lot more than Avery or Richie, but we miss Isaiah Oliver bad. I completely agree. I do want to see Darren Hall. You know, I made that a statement a while back. I was like, could this be the moment that Darren Hall actually does something? Because we just haven't seen him. You know, like we're all in the offseason, we're all concerned about, oh, hey, is Kendall Sheffield going to see the field? Like, no, I want to see Darren Hall because at least he can provide a younger spark. It's all good. I'm not. I'm not Hispanic. No, I might look like it because of my mustache, but uh, well, I didn't want to make this a question, but I'll give you something to think about while I catch up on these comments. If you're over here waiting for me to get my get to your comment, maybe you can answer this question. So, my nationality, I am half one thing, I'm half the other, predominantly. I'm half black, and I can say that because I don't have the father to prove it. I am half something else. So let's see if anyone, and I mean anyone, can guess this. Guess this question about my nationality. Everyone CD Lamb could come one anyone would salivate with that matchup. Case in point, CD Lamb was, yeah, he was just so much better. Eric McDowell, how's it going? Oh geez, got a lot more people in the chat. G Lou, what it do? Say Matt got to take shots down the field. I want him to attempt it, but I think it might be worse for us if he actually completes it. If that doesn't make sense, I'll explain it. But I got to stop locking on Kyle Pitts. Well, I mean, you can see why, right? Like, he's obviously the guy that you want to target in crucial situations. But the problem is that more teams know that, and now we don't have the help from the outside in order to even up the defense a little bit more. So now we can end up in situations where teams will, teams will double team and triple team Kyle Pitts without having to worry about anything else because, well, they don't consider anyone else a threat. Oh no. Is this a penalty? I think the receivers are getting good separation. Exactly. There you go. Yep. Oliver's a free agent after the season. Well, he shouldn't be because we need to scoop up that deal because I don't think really anyone's going to be able to use him properly. I mean, given all the other former Falcons that go on to other teams, they don't really do much. You throw the challenge flag at me too? Yeah, we can't offer Ridley and what he's going to want. Maybe trade him for a second or third round before the deadline next season. I said this before a couple weeks ago, before we knew that he had this problem. You know, and like I said, I got a lot of flack for it, but if we could have gotten, you know, maybe Tim Patrick in a second round pick from Denver, I think he was an underutilized receiver that has the potential in order to break out. He's got a big frame, good speed. I think he was able to win one-on-ones with Trayvon Diggs for what it's worth. Well, I think it's all about how we can improve from this season, right? I don't think it's necessarily just going to be, oh, hey, we're going to do everything that we can and what like the Rams did and just go all in and just try to get everyone that we can in order to make a playoff push. I know that we're trying to be competitive. That's all we can ask for at this point. If we get the win, hey, let's celebrate it because we don't know how many there are going to be in the future. But if we're expecting a loss every single week and just be like, oh, hey, well, we're not going to make the playoffs this year, we're not going to make the playoffs next year, we might as well not even try. Can't do that. It wouldn't be fair for us to do that and then suddenly come back to the same fan base that we rejected years and years ago or whatever, and you'd be like, yeah, I was a day one fan, and just be like, all right, what we got to do is to ride with the people right now and support them because we know that no one else will. We're all fans of football here. If we can at least expect some good football games, that can appease me. You know, maybe ones that don't send our fans to the hospital. Um, we just have to realize that this is the first year. This is the first under Arthur Smith, and the hand we was dealt with, and the next year will be better. Exactly. You know, this is what we're seeing. Like, we got to think about things on the bright side, because goodness knows all the other teams that we're going to be like, well, yeah, well, we weren't even expecting to win this many games. Yeah, we weren't expecting to win all these games, and then we were just supposed to be, you know, down there hoping for a top 5 pick again. But let's see. You're saying Middle Eastern Iraq person, or Middle Eastern Iran Iraq Persian. Well, let's see if I can get this right. No, 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 no. But I do like the guesses though. We're in a bad cap situation, and really is going to be demand $13 million per year, and we can't afford that. So you're saying that we can't afford a good wide receiver, and yet you expect the Falcons to get a good wide receiver? Vlad, how's it going? Good to see you. Enjoyed your Feel the Sports podcast. It was hard for me to like pay attention to everyone because everyone was trying to top in at the same time. Uh, yeah, teams are playing press coverage and jumping the short routes. Well, because that's what they're coached to do. But yeah, absolutely, we definitely need to bring back Isaiah Oliver because I don't want that talent to go to waste. Now that we were actually able to recognize, like, oh hey, like you put him in the right system, that guy can flourish. You know, we were just putting him in a position where he was an outside corner, but that wasn't his strong suit. So he's not going to get a paid day if he's not playing. Well, you know, you got to consider that. That's well, I mean, we did pick up his 5th-year option. I don't know if that number can be adjusted. I think that's like a set number by position. Saying these are all bad games. Even the wins? Come on, man. What you trying to say? We have a cap problem with minimum wage players. Well, that's what we got to work with. But now we're basically scouts at this point. We got to make sure that, hey, we got to keep these players for next year because they can do good. Or that, hey, this guy brought up a spark. We got to make sure that we can use him a little bit more. You know, or hey, this guy's not cutting it for us. We got to move on from him, see what we can get in this position, either in free agency or the draft, which is more likely going to be the draft because, well, let's face it, our money's a little tight right now thanks to Thomas Dimitroff. So that being said, the fact that we're even trying to be competitive and that we're the 8th best team in the NFC, technically, guess you weren't expecting that, weren't you? We'll pay him more than we can. If we saw a TD, we would probably be getting an extension by the end of the year that killed us again, cap. Ow. Ow. Then explain how Brady and Rodgers still win. How you feel about Anthony Rush and Mike Pennell? I feel like it's a step in the right direction. They're good for one thing, and we didn't even use them in those situations where they were good. Like, we looked at the goal line situation, and I kept seeing 96 on the field. Yeah, that's right. I don't even feel like saying your name anymore. You know why? Because you have the same initials as Thomas Dimitrov, the guy that signs you, the guy that nobody else wants. You're Italian. You are incorrect. Space Spear. It's going. All right. Vlad saying, I think the tag is 11 mil for Ridley. Okay, well, that might be doable. But yeah, I think the focus that we need to remember is that our defense is somehow even worse than our offense, despite everything that we've tried. We got one more solution available to us, but it can't completely happen for our team until a few years down the road. But I've had the patience, like I always did. If you guys had the patience in order to wait out until you can see your team be good, and then recognize all the teams, recognize the struggles that each individual player had to go through in order to be on the field for us, that'll be better than just saying that, oh, hey, everyone sucks, just scrap the team. I don't even want to watch anymore, but I'm going to watch these streams because that's the type of person that I am. I'm so sick of Dante Phil. I'm still laughing at Asia Green saying Dante failure. I mean, you're not wrong, but hey. But yeah, you know, Ogundeji he's got a bright spot. Who the heck would have given them an opportunity if not for a struggling pass rush in Atlanta in order for him to actually have a chance to shine? All of our wins have been flukes against teams with bad quarterbacks. This team is so overrated, and we are few plays at most from each game away from being 0-9. And let me guess, you're going to be the same person that when we ever win the Super Bowl, we're going to be like, yeah, well, I was here since day one, and I never had a doubt in my mind that the Falcons are going to be as little successful. But I know what you're already going to say. Well, the Falcons ain't ever going to do it. Yeah, I'm just talking in my head. But, yeah. However you want to say that, man. You can either say it Thomas Dimitrov or Tyler Davis. Yeah, he did get us with your option guarantee, but after that, he's not going to get a big deal if he's not playing. Well, we're not there yet in the future. So, okay, well, now you just answered your own question, all right? With a lot of weapons and a good defense. How was that like, oh, hey, well, we need to get the quarterback with the tools of today's NFL in order to win, and that the guy that has won more often than any other new quarterback even beat the new quarterback using this exact formula? You got to make it make sense. Because if our quarterback right now, our statue of a quarterback that's old, decrepit, and whatever you want to call him, that can't do anything right in order to save his life, and yet all it takes is a good defense and some good weapons, and now we don't need a quarterback that can do everything. You're actually really close. But what? Because I can't consider that a nationality. Okay, let's see. Well, if you've been through everything, then you should understand that now is not the year in order to be so quick to quit. You should know by now that this is the beginning of the process and not the final product. If you've been through everything like you said, you should know and understand that, hey, we're starting something. We are not ending something. We have started something. It obviously isn't going to look as good as we want it right away. When have we ever asked for instant gratification and immediately got it when it comes to a football team? I'm sorry, but last time I checked, you can't win the Super Bowl in week 10. And that's been true for literally every other year. All right? I've dished out criticism. I've been realistic as well. You go to my articles. You go to our website. All I do is rip on our team when we lose. I've ripped on our team when we won too. All right, but I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, collectively that we have no shot anymore. Yeah, we can be hopeful. Yeah, we can be optimistic. Somewhat blindly so, somewhat delusionally so. But what matters now is not that we get what we want and we're not going to change our ways because we always feel as if our way is right. No, we can win in multiple ways. Every team has done that because they have different people to use. So they can't win the exact same way. They can't coach the exact same way because that is how they want to do things. That is how our players want to play under this coach. Okay, so you're saying it's easier to get a quarterback than a whole defense and weapons. That's true. But at the same time, that doesn't solve your problem. We don't have a whole defense and weapons for a new quarterback to thrive with. Have you seen the rookie quarterbacks? Which of them is doing the best? It's the one with the better situation in terms of a coach. It's the one that has more established players. It's the one that has a better defense to back them up and complement the offense. It's not Justin Fields. It's not Trevor Lawrence right now. It's not Trey Lance. These are the quarterbacks of the future. These are the Mahomes prototypes. And yet they either can't see the field or they can't win. Because why? Their franchise isn't set up for them to play a young quarterback like that right now. This is why you need to get the defense first. You keep the quarterback that you have right now because of what he's done for you. At the very least, right now it could be for freaking ticket sales at this point. But like you said, it's easier to get weapons for a quarterback than a quarterback. Wait a minute, wait, what? Wait, what? Didn't you just say the exact opposite of what the other guy said? Or am I reading that wrong? That, yeah. Okay, so our logic is why not draft a quarterback if we're still going to be a bum team? Okay, well, the philosophy of that, it's not just a matter of one position is going to solve everything. Because what if it takes you 5 years in order to build that defense up? What if it takes you 5 years in order to get all of your weapons up? That's more likely to happen than anything. Look at Denver. All they needed was the quarterback in order to take their momentum from the Super Bowl up to greater heights, and that they've never done that. All the while trying to do everything they can in order to get the next quarterback. And then the defense was neglected for a few years. And then their weapons was neglected. And now they're trying to rebuild the team with the weapons first, then the defense. And now you can see why they're at 5-5 right now. Why they were able to remain competitive. It's not just a matter of getting a quarterback, it's also the right time to get a quarterback. Right now is not the proper time to get a quarterback because we don't have the defense. We don't have the weapons to complement that. Because by the time that quarterback gets in his 4th and 5th year, he's going to ask for money because of everything that he had to go through as a rookie on his rookie deal. So it's not just a matter of, oh, hey, well, you get this one, and then even if you suck, you still have the quarterback to hope for. That's not the case because now you're banking on a defense. Now you're banking on getting every weapon. And last time I checked, there's even more misses than hits in those categories too. It is a long process. This process of building a team is not for the impatient. So if you're impatient, if you want win every single time, you're not really going to get that. Ooh. Sanchomoto, Fijian, Tongan, Samoan. Incorrect on all those. But you're getting closer. Native Americano. Incorrect. I don't like this talk of what's realistic. What you think is realistic now might end up not being so realistic in the future. So far, we've already provided odds, so. Saying, but people think that we can compete in the playoffs. Our record is deceiving, and we can't bring about unrealistic expectations from that. Our record is our record right now. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? It's probably more bad than good. I can admit that. But what we have to do on our side as a content creator for you guys, and I don't really completely understand. I don't really like using that word content. But as a creator for you guys to enjoy, you can't enjoy it if all we're doing is just speaking negatively for an hour or 2 hours at a time, every single day of every single week. Because that's a terrible way to live. Well, instead. We don't really have a shot with Matt Ryan at quarterback. We don't have a shot with a quirky quarterback either. Okay, I don't know what you were expecting. This team is not built to win with just a quarterback. We're not just a quarterback away. We never really have been. All right, so, like you're saying, our roster is one of the worst in the NFL and we're overachieving this season. Yeah, our roster is one of the worst in the NFL. So you need a revamped roster. Roster's 53 people. And it's even more of that at the start of the season. A roster includes coaching members as well. Now we at least have some level of confidence in our coaches, knowing that they can adjust, knowing that they have the experience to overcome a loss like this. Like I said, every single team that has a winning record right now has an embarrassing loss. Every single one of them. You want to go through the list? Are the players trying to find another Deion Sanders? What makes you say that? You know? Hey, bingo, you got it correct. It only took you. It only took several tries, but yeah, I'm half Filipino. You can say I'm a Filipino or a Black Apino or something. Everything's been changed on this team except quarterback and same results. Has everything been changed for the better, though? Did we improve in every single position? My answer is no. And I think our record kind of proves that. You know, the team has changed. Oh, wait, let me skip over this one. Ryan Kuna is saying drafting a quarterback would have been dumb. We got a quarterback. We may rest 10 first rounders on quarterbacks and get all bust. You just need to fix the team. That's a much better way to go through an offseason program than just blaming it all on one player and then you replace them and then, oh no, we're still bad? Oh, geez. I wonder what happened. Do you think we need to actually improve other positions too? Gee, I wonder. But I'm not going to try. I'm just going to blame the next rookie quarterback that comes in and sucks. But yeah, like you're saying, the team has changed, but now the organization has to fill the roster with the correct players that fit the new schemes. We can't do that this year. You know, and that's what's really holding us back. We got a few legit NFL starters. Start filling the roster with undrafted free agents. Well, the reason that we're doing that is because we don't have the money right now. But once we get the money, which can come to the league in a couple of years, I'd say I'd rather give it about 2 or 3 maybe. Then you can start to see the window really open. Quarterback is the hardest position to draft. That's why you get paid the big bucks. Whew, yeah. Matt Ryan is too reliant on play calling, pass protection, and production to win. He won't carry the team. But the rookie quarterback will? How's Sam Darnold working for you, by the way? And Matt was MVP, and it's looking like he's going to be on the couch with the rookie quarterbacks. Let's move on. Tony Wright. Quarterback position is a strong suit for the team. Problem is the defense is for the 7,000th time, chat. Saying Matt Ryan isn't a playmaker. I should have drafted Micah Parsons at 4. That would have been a reach, even by the draft experts. So, well, hey, the one person that I would have wanted to draft was Jalen Phillips. He was the only one that actually had that grade of being an actual worthy top 5 defensive draft pick. If you remember that at the time, instead of thinking with hindsight in mind. but guess not everyone's smart like that. Don't draft a quarterback until we have the good situation. Once you pay the rookie quarterback the big extension, you just lost 3 or 5 elite talents in the salary. There's no reason to rebuild starting with a rookie quarterback. I think you just answered your own freaking problem then. So we could have had Jones. Oh yeah, we definitely missed him. Meanwhile, he looks exactly like Matt Ryan. Cody Marker, thanks for guessing, but we already got it figured out. I am in fact a black and Filipino, and I think that's why I'm being targeted by so many fans right now. Haven't had many legit starters on the defensive side of the next man up mentality hurt the roster as well, as bad as first round picks, draft picks, and the failure of using free agency properly. Okay, now I know that you're just straight up spreading lies, so I don't feel bad about doing that. All right, let's see. I keep hearing we need a scrambling quarterback behind this O-line. I don't know if there's like a latency issue, but yeah, the answer's already been said. Well, there's one on the Falcons will upset the New England Patriots. Go Falcons. See, there we go. Jeez. Like I said, reality favors the stupid at this point in the NFL season. So Ryan will get an extension at the year. And these folks will lose their minds. They've already lost it. They've already lost it. DD, nice to see someone familiar in this chat. Along with Brandon Kahuna and whatnot. Can we give Frank Darby a shot in the lineup? So I don't know if you've already seen the video that Mad Mike put out earlier. You should probably go check it out. I think he answered the question a little bit better than I can right now off the top of my head. Thoughts on Adrian Hutchinson or Adrian? The edge rusher's thoughts on him for the next few drafts. I haven't looked at any college prospects right now. I do have it available for me, but I want to make sure that the college season is over and then for us to fully evaluate, because as I said, the ebbs and flows of every single week can change these narratives of a certain player. So let's get the complete picture out of the way first, and then we'll see how it goes from there. Still up and on O-line. Still bad pass rush. Secondary still bad. Wide receiver core is depleted. But yeah, Matt Ryan's the reason we aren't ready. Yo, Sosa, how's it going? You say we all need to stop blaming Matt Ryan. Ain't that the truth? And yeah, he agrees as well. Yeah, no problem, Ellie. Like I said, because I want to be accurate with it. I want to be thorough. But honestly, if you want me to throw out some names in order to pay attention to, I mean, I have this to look back on, so that'll be something. I normally try to look back at these streams that I'm in. So I'll probably jot down a lot of these other college prospects too. I actually haven't seen like that many players that were highly regarded this year. Normally there's going to be like a lot of quarterbacks right now. I know there's like Carson Strong and Desmond Ridder and a couple of other quarterbacks that generally have like the national or the attention from the country. I haven't seen that this much this year. Like outside of Jordan Davis, I don't really know a whole lot of other college prospects right now. I don't watch college football for the sake of like rooting for a specific team instead of I'm just like watching a football game just to scout. So score 23-14 Atlanta. I like that optimism, and I don't want that to go away just in case that we lose. Because goodness knows I mean, you've seen the stream. Boy. I bet 24-14. I mean, I don't see that much of a difference as long as we get the win. It could be 15-14. I don't care. But yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out what the heck's gonna happen once I end the stream. Like, is it going to stay? So if you guys weren't here at the beginning, I had a bunch of issues when it comes to logging on because I had to free up a bunch of space, and what that meant was I either had to like pay for more money, which this isn't my account, or I had to probably delete certain other broadcasts. There was a bunch of like test ones for that. So Ghost is saying I've been a Falcons fan since Chris frickin' Chandler was our quarterback. Yeah, I became a Falcons fan in 2007. You know, that year that everyone wants to forget. That's my first year starting off as a fan. But the reason as to why that was the case is because I became a fan of football first before I became a fan of any other team. I thought the game was fascinating in of itself. That once I really paid attention to any particular team, it would bring equal amounts of enjoyment. Because if you were just a football fan and you didn't have like your stakes on any particular team, you can enjoy the game, but you're not going to have that the roller coaster of a high and low, which could probably be a lot better for some people. In all honesty, what do you think Matt going to do in this game? All he can do as a quarterback. If you think he's going to stop these other wide receivers from the Patriots, if you think he's going to stop the ground game from the Patriots, if he's going to prevent the block kicks and the block punts, that's not his job, and you should realize that right now. If George Pickens declares for the draft, he may fall because of his injury. Is it worth the rest of the draft? Like I said, I haven't paid attention to anyone, but George Pickens is going to be someone they'll pay attention to because you mentioned him. What do you think about Arthur not going for that second field goal? It honestly wouldn't have tipped the scale either way. We didn't have the momentum. We could have points and not momentum, if that makes any sense. Okay, you're saying AD Mitchell's a beast as well. Yeah. That's the only one who played as long. So I don't know why you got to rip on him the hardest. He's just going to throw a touchdown. That's his job. We'll see, huh? We'll see. That's all I can say. I can't predict the future. You know, and obviously you're going to come back on this stream with 20/20 hindsight and be like, well, see, like this and this happened. Or if we win, you're not going to say a darn thing. So my score, you got wheels. But yeah. Pro Bowl voting. Please find AJ Terrell in your Pro Bowl votes. Find Foye because he needs to make up for last season. He got snubbed last year more so than anyone else. Kyle Pitts has a good chance so far to make a Pro Bowl because he's like third in receiving yards. So he's going to be higher up on the list for a lot of people. If you trust any part of our offensive line, find them, vote them in the Pro Bowl. Cordell Patterson, you're going to have to really find him because they have him listed as a running back. I think he had a phenomenal season so far for what it's worth. You know, and I think that should be rewarded for him. Just saying, do you truly believe in Matt Ryan against good teams? Do you truly believe in the Falcons as a whole against good teams? That's my question to you. Because, yeah, I trust Matt Ryan. It's the other guys that fail more often. Dominic Marshall is just saying Russell Wilson should be a top 5 quarterback, but look at his wins and losses. What about, I mean, the Seahawks have generally they've always been one of those teams that make the playoffs. Because they have stable freaking roster, stable freaking coaching, and a fan base that actually shows up to the games. Maybe try that out for a spin, see if you like it. Oh. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. It should be a lot more. It should be a lot more of a game. Because once the second quarter was finished, like even I knew. I was like, yeah, we'll just cut our losses and hope for next week. Yeah, honestly, I didn't have a whole lot to say after that because everyone else before me kind of stole a lot of my points, at least like points of emphasis. So I know that we still got a lot to give to you guys as far as like things for you to watch. So don't worry about it. Like Mad said, or like Mad Mike said, we're probably gonna have the post game show on Friday. It might be too late for anyone else to have anything happen because a lot of us got work, obviously, and yeah, I think we can enjoy the Sunday without much fuss. Colin Walker, he says, I have the utmost respect and sincerity for anyone with mental health issues, but I have a weird feeling Woodley doesn't want to be here. Well, you really can't speak on for him. I don't want to, I can't talk for him. Obviously none of us can. So it's just a matter of waiting for his decision. If it does come to be something like that, we got to respect it because we ain't got no choice to. And he's not made to see us make the playoffs for 5 straight seasons. You say that, and then there's actually a ton of fans that would. Just to see a football game and be happy about being there. So that might be your opinion. That might be the common opinion. I don't want to play for Memphis like Julio didn't. Cracking jokes now, aren't you? How's Julio doing, by the way? All right. Good to see you, Muffy. And like I said, good to see everyone else. And a few of you. Don't want a game yet at home. Yet. I like your optimism there. So, I think I've kind of said everything I wanted to say. I think everyone else is very clear about whatever they want to put up there. If we can just enjoy a football game for what it is right now, that'll be all that we need. All right, because if you like football, which I get the feeling that some of you guys do, we should be able to feel good about watching a football game. Asia, good to have you back with us. If Ridley wants on out, he can walk out just so we can trade him in the offseason. We'd both be happy. Well, Cody Mercury saying, I heard John Madden once say, sometimes you can do everything right and still be wrong. It's pretty much become Atlanta's ethos. You can do everything wrong and still be correct too. That's just how it goes sometimes. And like I said, this season is more proof than any that anybody can beat anybody. Again, do you think that Dolphins fans were over here saying, I think we're gonna crush the Ravens. But as long as you allow the team to have a chance, here's the last thing I'll say, and then I'll have to leave. I think when it comes to controlling your emotions for the sport, it's very, very crucial. I wasn't actually on the team myself, but I was around a bunch of friends in high school that were on the varsity team. And one of the things that their high school coach told them, which is also our phys ed coach, is that when it comes to playing a sport, you have to control your emotions. You can't feel too high about a win. You can't feel too low about a loss. All right? What did Arthur Smith say earlier? If you let the week-to-week narrative get to you, the league will eat you up. That's just how it is. All right? We can say whatever we want in between the days that we're not having a football game played. All that matters is what's on the screen for us to watch. And if we take some of our emotions out of it and not feel like, oh, hey, if I win this game, then I get free rent or whatever. And if I lose this game, then I lose a limb or something like that. Like some of these people, they really genuinely feel as if that's going to happen to them every single week. Like, dude, we're not that bad. Like, we still have our lives outside of the sport for what it's worth. Sometimes that can be used as a way to get out of our own negative situation. But we can't let these things that we don't have any control over get to us in such a way that we become, keyboard warriors over here. So, dude, I don't care about the money. I don't care about the risk that you're trying to put. I just want to see us do something good. Does do something good equal a win in this situation? Not exactly. But if I want to root for my team, which I do, then I'm going to root for my team. No one's going to stop me. No one's going to stop you from bashing the team either. Every single time. So if that's how you want to live your life, that's your decision. If you want to be like us, have the potential to be heartbroken every single week, only to feel good about yourselves for maybe a couple of days, it's your decision. If you want to stay a little bit more emotionally out of it, so that it doesn't physically affect you to the point where you're either so depressed or you're so angry every single day of your existence, it's your decision. I can't decide for you. Even if I did, you're not going to listen to me anyways. Just so nobody on the internet. No, I take this team seriously. When we lose, I go through depression. Like I said, we can't have that emotion get to us. And sure, when you're in those situations, when you're in that emotional state, you want to have someone to blame. And you think that the person that's always been there for you is the one to blame. I understand that. But what we're trying to tell you is that it's not that simple. We're trying to tell you that that's not the only problem that needs to be fixed in order for you to not feel this way every single time. All right? Like, do I got to be the only person to tell you that that's slightly unhealthy? And this is why we're trying to give people optimism so that they don't have to go through depression every single week just because the Falcons lost. Knowing this sport, it can happen at literally any time. And if you had plans or something set up for that week, and yet now you don't want to do it because you're depressed, because of something you can't control, or if we, on the other hand, if everything's going well for us because of something we can't control, this is just my opinion, but I don't think you should live that way. I don't think you should have to live that way. And I don't think that's just a team problem, because if you're so emotionally invested about that point, if you take that seriously to the point where every single loss is going to just destroy your week, you can't take it like that. You got to be a little bit more calm when it comes to these situations. And I know that it's tough. I know it's not what you want to hear. All right. I get that those types of fans are the ones that you want to be. You want to be the ones that are optimistic every single week. But yet, as I've said, there are fans of other teams that have gone through so much more pain than us as a franchise. And they still have games where they show up, thousands and thousands. They show up at the stadium, outside the stadium, in the comment section, on social media. There's a lot of other people that have it worse than us. And not just in this, but in other sports as well. So it's not just a Falcons problem. It's not a sport problem. It's not a city problem. I'm not trying to say it's a you problem either. I think it'll be better if you take some of that investment back. If it means that you can live a more stable life mentally. Because this, like I said, this is not the way to go about your day. And maybe this is why other people have mental issues. This is why I'm like saying, hey, I just want something good to happen to us. I think that can happen. And if it doesn't, well, guess I was another face on the internet that was wrong. Whoop-de-doo. Let me move on though. You better show off tomorrow because they always make my blood pressure rise. Yeah, I mean, even I sometimes fall victim to that. But I also understand that it's not just this position, being on this side of this camera, that makes me want to be this way. No, like, I'm gonna be the way that I'm gonna be. I'm gonna be the way that I've always been, without the camera on me. You know, just because I'm on this side of the screen, that does not mean that I did something different, you know, or that I have more investment in the team than you guys do. That's not true. Like I said, I love the sport more than I love the team. But that doesn't mean that I don't love the team. I'm right there with everyone. But I know how it gets to other people. I know how seeing that way, seeing how other people live their life, where they can't even enjoy a win anymore. I don't want to get to that point in my life. So knowing what needs to be done, you have to make some emotional investment. But you also can't give up and you can't quit too fast because the ship can turn around just as quickly. You know, so it's like, man, I live in Los Angeles and I need backup. The Cowboys fans have been killing me all week. I can't take another loss. If you feel like Red, you know, and I'm trying to say this in the way that benefits you the most. I think you need to do what you need to do to take care of your mentals, whatever that may be. So is it stepping away from the sport? I've had to do that sometimes. I've had to do that sometimes as we were winning. You know, like the 2016 season, for example. I was not fully invested that season. I didn't know what that season was going to look like. Obviously, we know the end result, but at the time, there was no telling that what we were going to be doing. You know, there was no telling that, oh, hey, we're just going to go into the playoffs and just be another one and done team. Because that's what we were. At that point in time, the last time we were there was 2012. Look what happened. We won one game, but then we didn't win the other. So when it comes to the emotions, it's difficult knowing, like, I only have a first take at saying this kind of stuff. And obviously, all of this is unscripted because I'm just going off of whatever the comments section is about. But at the end of the day, we're all sports fans. We all have that in common with each other. We're all fans of football. And we may not have the same team to rep with, but that doesn't mean that we can't have meaningful conversations with each other just because we have a different opinion about a certain player or a certain team. All right, like I still want you to do good, even though that I don't completely agree with you on certain scenarios, in certain situations, on certain talking points. We could agree on literally anything else, possibly. You know, and I don't want that to be the one thing that defines you as a viewer on YouTube or whatever. You know, because like I said, there's only so many of us that are willing to give people like us attention. And if we lose that because we're so negative of the fan base and we're so negative of the team and we're so negative about the city and we're so negative about each other and we're so negative about everything else, you see how that negativity it permeates more and it spreads more than any positivity can. You know, I heard this one saying, you do one thing good, 10 people might hear about it. You do one thing bad, 100 people are going to hear about it. So knowing that, it makes it difficult to live life when you know that there's a small margin of error that's there. And the more that you put yourself out there, the tougher it is. So the more that you want to be a fan, the more that you're going to be scrutinized by other people. And I knew that when I stepped into this position voluntarily. So I had to dial it back a little bit more. I had to take the football game for what it was. You know, was it a loss? Was it an embarrassing loss? Was it a win? Was it a close win? Was it a tough loss? Was it an ugly win? Was it whatever the case may be? I had to treat the game for what it was. Could I give myself so many expectations to the point where if any of them fail, then geez, I can't show my face anymore? No, we got embarrassed. And yet all of us still have to show our faces, knowing that we're going to have to take all of the criticism that probably is also directed to the players directly by some form of social media, and yet we have to be the ones to answer all the tough questions, knowing that we're not experts, knowing that we're not completely like that we have all the intel about the team, knowing that we're not going to always be the most knowledgeable person about the sport. It's tough on our side too, but it makes it not as bad when you can emotionally cope with it in a way where you're not too high and you're not too low. So, if those are words of encouragement that you could hear and really take to heart, well, it's there for you for free. But if it doesn't help you out in the slightest, then I'm sure that might help someone else out. But we're gonna have about 10 minutes or so. I know I started a little rather late, but I normally don't want to keep you guys a little bit past. Well, 10 for me, probably later for you. So let me get to some of these comments and then we'll end it here. Who is that? Arthur Blank referring to the dude who's going through the depression when the Falcons lose. All I know is that if everyone shows up and does the job, we'll win. But if defense doesn't show up, I don't know what to expect at the point. Or UTV. That was a different scenario. That was more of an ego thing. We need to compete and not let the game get away from us. We got to play smart and disciplined. I say we pull it off with the last second field goal. I'm calling it 28-26. Hey, too legit to quit. Hey, man, that's a big tab that you're willing to pull out. Rail Radcliffe, how's it going? Glad you're able to join. I just joined, but what has this team done since 2017 to give us a positive outlook? Well, we changed all the people that were important in the building. You know, I'm talking about like the coaching facilities. I think that definitely needed an overhaul. And now, instead of just having the same result happen to us over and over again, I think that now we're building hope. If we can just see that collectively as a group and recognize that it's not the same season as it was in 2018, or it's not the same season as it was in 2019, or it's not the same season as it was last year. The sport isn't completely just based on wins and losses, and if that's all it is for you, then I think you joined the wrong sport. You know, but when it comes to giving us a positive outlook, we're definitely a lot more hopeful about our rookies, about our second-year players like AJ Terrell. We've definitely seen some growth when it comes to certain individuals, and it's still nice to know that we were able to make anybody come into the building and look somewhat okay. Look at Cordell Patterson. So we have a better scheme that fans like me feel more confident in than as opposed to previous years. And I think if we give it a chance and we're able to give this team some patience, we're going to see better things for us in the future. Whatever the season may look like, whatever our final projection is, that's not going to deter the fact that we have to wait. This season was not going to show us the final product of what the team can look like in the future. Once you accept that, we're able to move forward. So I hope that was any good for you guys. It's hard to do this it's hard to have this kind of talk and this kind of conversation, not completely knowing who you guys are on the other side and not completely like having everything thought out ahead of time. So let me be, dude. Because what I got to do is so much harder than just saying, well, I mean, I guess we all suck now. We can just go home and just ball up on the floor and die. Good night, and let's get ourselves some confidence, man. Yeah, see, that was able to help. Like I said, rambling on like this for an hour and 45 plus is it's not easy when nothing you do and nothing you really said is scripted for you. We're just having a conversation, just talking football, and sometimes we need to scale the conversation back and then go back into it with a different perspective instead of just saying, oh, hey, just being so hard pressed about every single opinion and then just butting heads until one of us just either gets hurt by it or just leaves, not knowing or not being able to learn from that situation moving forward. So I think that once we're able to not necessarily be right all the time, but just understand everything, little by little, we'll be able to grow. So, oh boy, I never do learn my lesson about. I never learned my lesson about having something to drink beside me. I mean, I got this, but I don't want to have it right now. It's too late. I don't have enough carbs. So, yeah, I think that, like I said, I was going to have to end it early. Yeah, that didn't work out. Well, we'll see how this goes on our side. Because, like I said, we had some storage issues, and I hope that this stays on here. But just know that if you have a problem with the Falcons, let's talk about it. If you have a problem with me, talk to me. I'm here every single Wednesday. The Unknown Jam, how's it going? It says, I can't wait for year 2 where everyone can do both full grasp with both systems, both the offense and defense. Yeah, that's all we're looking for right now. Right now, we just planted a seed. We're planting a seed. That is this season. This season, like I said, is the starting point. When you plant a seed, you have to wait for it to grow. And you got to take care of it. You got to be there in order for it to grow. A seed cannot simply grow on its own. It needs other elements in order for it to actually nourish and do something. So we got to take care of it. We got to do our part in order to cultivate this type of season, making sure that we're holding the team accountable for what it needs to improve on. Not just simply saying that, oh, hey, everyone sucks and that we'll just have to wait for the next season when you know that you're just going to say that, oh, hey, we're just going to suck next year too. Call me crazy, but I don't want to live like that. And I don't want more people to live in that bubble of thought. So, right now we're just going to have to think of a situation where the grass is always greener on the other side. But we have to recognize that, hey, at least our grass is green. So, yeah, like I said, that'll end it for me. Any final thoughts from anyone else? Besides voting certain players for the Pro Bowl. You got to find them. Spam it. Hey, whenever you're bored, spam that voting button for certain players. Get them in. I want to see what happens. I know there ain't a whole lot of us, but if we can just spam that number of votes. Here's a thought. What's funny is that everyone was calling for Shanahan's head in year 1, then he brought us to the Super Bowl. I remember Tony Gonzalez, like a years back, are saying that, yeah, Matt, he had his best year, but he also had his worst season as a Falcon too, under Shanahan. So take that for what it's worth. Like I said, everyone's got to grow. Once everyone can click, that's when we see the best version of our team. Right now, what we're seeing right now is not the best version of our team. Far from it. And I say that in the best way possible. So give us a chance. We'll be fine. We'll improve. We'll take these losses in as they come. Learn from them. All right. But when you don't learn from a mistake, when you don't learn from a loss, that's when the snowball effect of losing more and more is going to happen. So we got to change our ways. And once we can see that, once we can recognize that, we'll be much better off as a team. But yeah, I'm thirsty now, and we got like over 20 of y'all still in here. I really appreciate it, man. But I gotta sign out. So thank you all for tuning in. Hope tomorrow goes a lot better for all of you.